If you want to put homeowners into a cold sweat, just mention the term termites, and understandably so. They cause considerable damage. Now, different states have different approaches to infestations, and there are calls now to have a national plan of action against termites. Alex Hyman went out and about and he met up with one pest controller.
I've made my way out to Belden to take a look at a termite treatment in action. Archicentre Australia are calling for a national termite plan. They're concerned that termites are causing incredible damage to properties, more than fire, floods and storms combined. Yet it gets little attention. I know myself, when you're thinking about your property, where is that termite inspection on the to-do list? It's probably a fair way down. So I thought I'd catch up with somebody who was at the forefront of this. Ashley Firth runs a pest control business here in Perth's north. And as I said, I'm out in Belden and I've caught up with Ashley. He's on a job. He's been involved in this game for 15 years. And Ashley, do you agree with Archicentre? Do we need a national plan here when it comes to termites?
Yes, it's well overdue. We definitely need to make people more aware of the dangers of termites out there, particularly when it comes to the sale of the house, and it's a crucial point in people's lives and with the banks and everything involved. It's the last thing you want is termite problems in a new property or a property that you're redoing.
Here we are in Belden. It's a one-storey property. We're on the outside of it, just looking at some of the work that you're doing. What are you doing here?
Well, first we've done the inspection inside to make sure there's no termites anywhere, because it changes things if the termites are alive inside. You want to treat them and get rid of them first. But after that, we're going to drill around the perimeter to hit foundations with some treatment chemicals. So we need to drill every 300 mils. Some chemicals we need to do every 200 mils. So they're quite close together. You want to be putting down a few litres every metre. So unless you get every bit of the house, it's not properly protected. So the first thing we'll do is...
You've got an enormous drill here, yeah?
So we'll drill a couple of holes around the house. Do that around the whole house, around any piers or posts or any wooden structures as well, any extensions or sheds is worth doing. You can do two types of chemical. There's one that will just kill and repel, and there's one that will take it back to the nest. I won't mention any brand names, but you can work it out. But there's also another way to protect from termites, and that is baiting systems in the ground, and that is chemical free. So it's kind of a lot safer for the environment in those point of view. And also you can target the termites colony and get rid of the colony that way as well, because they take the bait back to the nest. The easiest way to keep termites out is physical exclusion, and that's, I guess, where the Archicentre's coming in. They want to get standards up so you wouldn't even need to do these treatments in the first place.
So what standards are there for you as a termite inspector, a pest controller? What are the standards currently?
Oh, there's pretty specific. There's actually a whole book on it. I could go for hours about it. But for example, the 300 mil holes, that something the manufacturer recommends. So if you break that one rule right there, you're already in trouble. So you've got to do the right thing the whole way along. The inspection part is very important also. It has to be done properly. Technically, the only proper way to do an Australian standard inspection report is with a moisture meter, and a lot of people don't even use that.
Okay, so you'd like to see a little bit more of a standardised approach to this. What are your thoughts on that?
Might be a bit controversial, but I might be one of the only people that would love to see more government involvement. It's kind of a self-regulated industry, and there's only a few people in the Department of Health to look after this side of things. You've got over 400 companies that are self-governing, and it's up to them whether they do the right thing or not. And 99% of them, I'm sure, are doing the right thing, but we need to really crack down on people that aren't.
A suburb like Belden, here we are, the ocean's not far away. This 100 years ago would have been a sand dune. What's the risk profile here? Is it a high-risk area?
There is no property in Perth that will ever be considered a low risk. They're all considered high risk, especially if you look at the CSIRO's own data. They've done a bit of testing over the years, and the whole map of Perth is classified as a high risk. It may be due to the sandy soils and the way termites travel through the soil, and our warm climate tends to promote them as well.
And what critter are we talking about here? What is the termite that we're most susceptible to here in Perth?
Well, we are susceptible to the Coptotermes species of termites, but we actually have two subspecies in Perth, the Microsoni and the Raffrii. And the difference is the mics, as we call them, they tend to be a bit more shy, and the Raffrii tend to be more out there. But they're trying to classify them into the same species to make it a bit easier for people to identify them, but there's definitely different behaviours.
What telltale signs are there?
Most of the times it's pretty obvious. You look for any changes in the timber condition, but the subtle ones, they eat everything except the paint, so you actually physically have to touch it to find out. So anywhere you see a mud trail or a mud vein, as I call it, that's a good way to spot termites. Anything with a three-dimensional sort of mud line going up a wall is a certain giveaway. Or you can also look for mud stains on the floor or the back of cupboards, which sort of give away if termites have been scraped away.
And how often should people be doing this? Probably a lot more frequently than they think.
It's Australian standard to get a treatment to prevent termites every 5 years and get an inspection at least once a year. But on my paperwork, I put it down for every 6 months if you have not had a treatment.
Here in WA, do we take the termite issue seriously enough?
I guess it depends whether you've had experience with them or not. Unfortunately, a lot of people were finding out the hard way about termites. Once they've been stung, I suppose, then they're right into it and they do the right thing. But I'm a bit concerned about particularly the older houses in Perth, the ones that are up on stumps or limestone foundations, because they've had the older chemicals there since the 1950s and they work, unfortunately, still to this day, but they're starting to wear out. So poor elderly people are sitting there not having done a termite inspection in their life, getting infested with termites all of a sudden.
I have lived in properties in areas like Mount Lawley where you've got those timber stumps and you think about termites a bit more. But out here where there's a concrete slab, you may not be so cognizant of that. You may not be thinking, we're going to there's no timber in this house, I don't really need to worry about termites.
Well, you have the cavity wall on the inside, so if you're lucky, the termites will attack inside first and you will see them. But otherwise, your first indication of termites may be the roof falling down. It's the worst case scenario.
And have you seen that?
I've seen everything, unfortunately. I've seen the whole roofs being eaten, people trying to sell their house, not being able to sell their house because termites have literally eaten the floor underneath. So I'm sitting underneath the floor trying to work out how I'm going to tell this nice person that they're not going to sell this house today.
So they can inflict incredible damage on a property. What's the worst you've ever seen?
The whole roof having to be replaced in the house down south. Yeah, it's quite common. I went out there on Christmas Eve to find stalactites coming down from the roof, and then I went out to the shed and they was eaten just as badly. But we were able to get rid of them within 1 week, so I suppose there's good news there.
And is there a particular time of year that's worse for termites?
Well, termites being invertebrates are cold-blooded, so in summer they tend to be more active just simply because there's more heat.
Okay, so we're coming into a cooler period now, but that's no excuse.
I wouldn't rely on the weather to keep termites out, let's put it that way.
Does moisture or dryness have any impact?
Moisture is everything. The reason termites build trails is to keep the moisture within. Apparently you need 98% humidity within the trails to keep the termites alive. They're soft-bodied animals, so if they're exposed to air, they will dry out. So if you have a leak, they'll be drawn to the leak. And
so what's your message then to the authorities, to those in government who perhaps haven't been keeping an eye on this? What would you like to see happen?
More information, maybe an ad campaign. Everyone's aware of the European house borers, but I think they pose less of a risk than the termites do. It's just education more than anything, and enforcement would help as well. But it's pretty much up to the homeowner in the end.
So there's Alex Hyman there speaking about termite treatment. And goodness me, some of those stories, they just, as a homeowner, make you just quiver in fear. So certainly very concerning. And I remember when I was renting in South Perth many years ago, one of the homes, exactly like what Alex described then, down on the corner of the street, was absolutely riddled with termites and caused no end of cost and damage to that home and for the people that live there. So, yeah, certainly a concern. Jim, who's a real estate agent in Guildford, says he feels for the timber pest inspectors because he warns us there are many unlicensed inspectors out there. So make sure that they are licensed if you get someone to go along and look at your home. This is Afternoons, ABC Radio Perth and WA.